Hola.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Monica.
I'm Maritza. And I'm Elizabeth. So, ladies, it's been a minute that we've gotten together and had any conversations, and it's about time, don't you think?
Yeah, it has been a few minutes.
Yeah, I know we've all had a lot of stuff going on, and everybody's been really, really busy, but our audience needs to hear from the Yup We Said It gals. So we're back to have a little
I don't
chat.
know. I'm ready.
Are you sure? Because I got the
I don't know
topic, and
what's
it's a
today's
hot
topic.
topic. It's a
Hot
hot
topic.
mama topic. So, like Salt and Pepper said,
Uh,
what's the song? How does it go, Elizabeth?
let's talk about sex, babe.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sex, baby. That's what we're about to do. A little bit of that. Of course, we're not going to be rated X. We're going to keep it rated PG, rated R. We can't keep everything PG, but a little rated R. But I think it's important. We were talking a little bit about our demographic. Like we are talking to people and to mostly women over the age of 40. And I think that's one of the topics that as older women, we don't talk about or seasoned. I'm not old. I'm seasoned. As seasoned women, we're afraid to talk about our sexuality. So it's not specifically sex, but our sexuality and how we identify with our own needs and how do we communicate those needs? So anybody want to go ahead and get the topic going, get the topic started?
I don't know. It's
Ahead.
kind of like a dry river over here.
I mean, like,
I'm not. I'm not active.
so, okay, but you're dating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about
But
that
we live
because,
separate. So he lives at his house. I live at mine. We're not married.
okay,
But do you
so,
ever stay overnight? Have, but it's been a while. Even though we go on vacations and things together, we still don't. No touchy, no nothing. I mean, he'll try sometimes, but I don't know. Maybe it's because it's been 11 years, almost 11 years, and I'm just like, but it's been like that ever since I had my hysterectomy too, though. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or if it's just me and mental and because it's been so long.
I mean, that can be a contributing factor because I've read and I've heard that sometimes when our bodies change, especially if we've had a hysterectomy or if we're going through the change, your body changes. But I think the issue is not so much that your body changes, but that do you know what you need while it's changing? Like, do you know your body enough to go, okay, it's not that I don't want to be touched. Maybe I want to be touched differently. Well, it's not that I don't want to do this, but maybe I'd rather do this. So I think that that's a fear too that we have as women where we're afraid to say exactly what is it that we want, what we need. I sent you guys a message of this book, and the book is a little much. I'm not going to say the name of the book because we're not promoting them. If they want to pay us, then we'll promote them, but we're not promoting them. But I started reading the book this morning, and I got probably into maybe 5 chapters already.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, like I couldn't put it down. I was like, but the reason I was kind of listening to this and I said, ladies, we need to, read this together. The book does talk a lot about sex and talk about how the women, it's about 3 different women and 3 different stages of their lives and things that they've been through and how they relate to sex and how they relate to their sexuality. And one of the things that they talked about is how we are always trying to please the male. We want to know, well, let me get all sexy, or let me do my hair, let me do my makeup, because we are doing it for them, right? We prepare ourselves, we prepare our bodies for them, but we never really take the time to sit back and prepare them for us. Like they need to prepare themselves for us. So we're almost treated like this is your duty. And I think that's what happens sometimes, and we're kind of like, I don't want to do all that. But I don't know. Is that the same for you, Monica, or even Elizabeth? Do you feel that way?
In my situation, well, it's definitely that where, God, I don't want to do this and I got to take a shower, all the, but I actually kind of lost interest once I became a mom, like with the kids and running everywhere and like we were doing volleyball. So we were traveling. I was going one way with her. Like it was never, we lost like me and we became mom and dad. So that kind of went out the window. And now, I mean, it's sad to say it's been quite a while. And I mean, I'm talking years where to me, it's almost weird because we're like strangers in that department. And it would be like starting over. And I'm really shy. So I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, let's do this and let's do that. I don't know. It's just so weird how it doesn't even play a part in our relationship.
So do you feel that because you're already at that point where you feel like strangers, it would take too much effort? Or do you feel like it just would be kind of awkward to try to rekindle or awkward? Wow. And how long you guys been married?
Almost 30 years.
Okay.
It's
Okay. And Elizabeth, you've been dating how long?
11 years.
11?
Yeah, it'll be 11 in February.
Wow.
Now I know
I
you, on
know.
the other
I
hand, have
know.
a
Let's
whole
talk about you,
different.
Maritza.
I know you got the spicy life over there.
Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about how we can make everything else and everybody else's sex life a little bit more risque.
I mean, have you guys ever gotten into like a rut?
We have, there was a time where I was very sick. I had a mini stroke and I was sick and I was going through a lot of different adjustments physically, but we never not had intimacy. We might not have had sex, but there was always some sort of intimacy, whether it was snuggling or whether it was just, hugging or touching or making out but at the end of the day, the long periods of time that you guys are talking about, yeah, that's not an option.
You're like, that's torture.
That's torture. However, just because I have that sex life now doesn't mean I've always had that. When I was married the first time and I was with my first husband, he's the father of my 4 kids, but everything was so routine and he managed everything. He said when, he said how, he said where. And I'm talking about if I ever initiate, he would reject me if he didn't want to. So it would be kind of like that. He had to be in control of everything. So for years, I thought something is wrong with me. I started kind of like looking inside, like, I don't look good. I'm too big. I'm too this. I'm too that. So I started kind of really just breaking myself apart and beating myself up. And years later, I realized like he had the problem, not me. But how many women go through that they're in that situation where they go for months or years without intimacy or without a relationship with their spouse or significant other. And then they start questioning themselves, like, what's wrong with me? Instead of saying, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with him? What do I need differently? Is there something different that I need? You said that you feel awkward if you have the conversations. Have you ever been comfortable enough to have a conversation about your needs?
No,
Really?
no, I've
Not even when you
never.
first started dating or first got married?
No, I've never.
Elizabeth, what about you?
I have conversations.
Never, even when you first started dating or
No. And the thing
really?
too, we're so different. Like, as far as like the intimacy part, I grew up in a home where everybody's lovey and huggy, and he wasn't. Like, it's so painful to watch him hug his family. They're like, I don't know. So he's so much different than I. Like, even when if I hold his hand or he's not relaxed is what it's just so weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like a hug from him isn't
a soft, lovey hug. Like, I don't know. I
Like a
don't, he was
tap.
just, it's just different.
So do you feel that because that was his upbringing, it kind of limits him on how to share, his affection and how to show how, is he like that too with the kids, or was that kind of different?
Nah, their hugs are awkward. He's just awkward. And I mean, I don't want to, like, I'm not blaming him or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how he was brought up. There's no, I don't know, like when he holds my hand, it's not like a soft, like I don't feel I love you. It's like a duty. He's holding my hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it doesn't make me like, "Ooh, come here, Herb." Let's snuggle. It doesn't, that's not the feeling I get.
Okay, so we're basically saying all three of us have a different sexual appetite. Is it a different sexual appetite, or is the menu different for each one of us? And that's why it feels or it seems like it's a different appetite. Do you know what I mean? Do you feel like your awkwardness keeps you from being able to, you know, indulge? Or do you feel like your distance between you and yours, Elizabeth, feels like, kind of feels awkward because we can't indulge when we want to? Do you
Well,
think
I
that,
think,
or?
well, definitely before I had my hysterectomy, it was a lot different. I was a lot more, wanted, okay, after I had my hysterectomy, I'm just like, but I think for me, it's more than just that. I think for me, it's got a lot to do with the fact that we have been in a relationship for a long time. We don't live together. We're not married. And although I'm not the world's best Christian, I'm Christian. So there's just all of these things like, if we're not married, we're not, living together. I'm not going to live together unless we're married. So, you know, but I'm not like looking anywhere else for anybody. So there's that too. So
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Monica?
That's the question.
Do you feel that your appetite is different, or is it because the menu is different? Because all three of us, obviously, at some point in our lives, we had to have enjoyed, being sexual and being intimate and being connected because we all have kids. But
right.
do you
We
feel
were
like the
doing
menu
something.
has changed?
Her menu's been the same.
Well, the thing is, I was always so shy. So that played a big part. Like if it was now the way I am now, and then, I first met somebody and we were together, I think it would be a whole different story than when I started, years ago. I feel like I'm different. I'm not as shy. It's so hard to explain. And now that it's been so long, doesn't even enter my mind. It's like, I used to think, oh my gosh, I'm this old and that's it. I'm never having sex again. But it's like now if he would come home and be, I don't know, let's go. I'd be like, nah, I'm tired. Like, I don't know. It's just everything is just so different from the beginning. But I will also say that we've never been like you guys. Well, like you. Maritza. I've never
Maritza's
Elizabeth
been.
menu,
too now.
I
Huh?
think Maritza's menu changed.
My
You know,
menu
saying
changed.
your appetite wasn't as strong when you were with your first husband.
My appetite was strong. The menu was limited, and everything that
Yeah,
was on it, I was like, you can only have this. So
yeah,
I think when I started rediscovering myself, or not rediscovering, but discovering, because first of all, I got married when I was 16, so I was a kid. What did I know? But when I went through that stage of trying to figure out who I was in my late 20s. Most people are trying to figure that out in their late teens, early 20s. They're like, so I went through that little period where I was like, oh my God, my gosh, wow, okay. And it kind of just opened this whole different perspective for me about sex and about my sexuality and about my needs and myself. And I think that's why our sexual relationship is different, because I'm very assertive as to what I want and when I don't want, and what I don't want. I would have never in a million years done that, in past life. But I think probably the last 20 years, we've been together 23 years, but even early in our relationship, I was like, okay, I don't do this. I don't do this. Okay, this is okay. This is okay. But we don't do this. So I've always been and if,
Love this.
yes. And if something ain't right, I'd be like, you're doing it wrong. Start over. This isn't working. Like, I'm going to tell you what's what.
Yeah. See, I would be like, okay, let's go. All right, you done? Let's go.
No, see, and that's the problem. That means that you're doing it because you feel like it's a duty. And you're doing it because, I have to do this as a wife or, whatever. But we have to start really thinking about what is it that we need? What are the things that we need? And how do we discover what our body needs? What is it that makes me tick? What is it that makes me laugh while, in the midst of I say that because Monica shared a little story about laughing and giggling when they were having sex.
Yeah. That
But
kind of put a damper on his end.
Do you think, Monica, though, that it's because you still have kids at home too?
I mean, we could, like go somewhere. Like if we go away together or, goes out sometimes. And I mean, there's opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity. It's just the desire is not there. So is there like a retreat I can go and I can learn how to be different?
we could have a retreat.
If
We
so,
should
sign me up.
we could find a retreat out there. Let's look. Dr. Ruth is not here anymore, so we can't call her up. But we can maybe just find somebody that took over Dr. Ruth's position there.
Because like I hear, and first of all, things are so different now today than they were back when. It was like you didn't, like you said, you didn't talk about it. You definitely
Yeah.
didn't do certain things. And now everything is no big deal. What you're doing with each other. They talk about it. They do it so casually. It's so different now. But like hearing other people's stories and stuff of, happy they are and, they're in such a great place together. I miss that. I would love to have that. But at this point, I don't know how to even initiate getting to that.
What about you, Elizabeth? Do you feel the same way?
I mean, there would be opportunity, but I don't know how I feel. I feel like our relationship's not based on sex and that we have more of a friendship than anything.
So you don't feel
wouldn't
like that's
say
a missing part for you, not in the relationship, but for you as an individual. Do you feel like that's something you're missing?
I mean, I'm not having any more kids, so I don't really care, I guess.
Even more
Yeah.
reason
No, you're
to be
talking about
carefree.
you're talking about the pleasure part of it, not the
Yes.
reproduction part.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Like if you say you two were home together tonight by yourselves and like would you go up to him and initiate anything? Never? What would happen if you did?
I don't know.
You have a heart attack?
Probably.
She'll have to dial 911 first. Be like, stay on the line just in case. Hold on.
Stand by.
My
Stand by.
son still lives at home. I'm not about to be doing nothing here.
Well, he's got his place.
Yeah, but no,
Wow.
we don't even
I
really
feel
talk
like we
about
need
it.
an intervention because it really think about, I'm not saying that, hey, you have to go and have sex 24 times in a week, but I do think it's important for you or for an individual to learn their body enough to know that, okay, this not only gives me pleasure, but it makes me feel a certain way. Like, I'm not as depressed. I'm not as angry. I'm not, whatever it is, whatever
What if you
results you
think
get
it's
out of it.
gross?
Okay.
Or your partner.
It's like, I think it's
Okay.
gross.
Well, then that sounds to me like we need a different therapist. We don't need We don't need a sex therapist. We need something else then.
That sounds like she's worse off than me.
Elizabeth,
Just hope for me.
can I ask you, Elizabeth, how old you are?
I am 45.
You're a baby. And I'm in my late 50s. I'm 57. And my
In your late-
mentality is like, it's just getting good.
So,
Maybe there's something wrong with me.
I don't know. You know what you want. You know what you want, and you're not afraid to get it.
I'm like, what is it called? Asexual, when you're not interested in it at all?
Is that
You
what it
don't
is? I don't
care.
know.
Yeah, I think it's
Well,
called asexual. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, I would be definitely interested in it if it was different. He would relax more but not be so regiment, like
okay.
Isn't it
well,
like the whole saying that women need a reason, men just need a place? But it's got to be like
We got to flip
arousal all
that.
day long. Like, it's got to start from breakfast till the end of the day or whatever. It starts all day long. You can't just be like, okay, I'm ready to go at it. I mean, some
You got to
people
flip
have.
that. But you got to be the one to say, any place for me and make him feel like, okay, you're not doing anything or getting anything until I'm taken care of. And that could be anything. That could be, hey, we're just going to sit here and cuddle and we're not going to move from here till this, movie's over and we're just going to be cuddling. Or, tonight, do not come too close. But tomorrow, I'm okay if you wrap your leg around my leg. So you're still feeling like you have some control. And we, again, as women, we give up that control. We're trained to give up that control. And I think once you find that, you will have a totally different perspective about sex and about sexuality and intimacy. I feel that that's been the key for me. Once I started feeling like I don't belong to anybody, I belong to me. And if that's not going to make me feel good or if that's not going to make me happy, I'm not doing that. I'm only going to participate in what I want to do. It wasn't always like that. I was with my ex-husband for 13 years and it was not, I'm telling you, it was not like that. It was literally regimen.
yeah.
A, B, C. Oh, it's Tuesday. Okay. 9:00, 9:10, over. Okay. Good night. Like he was
Yeah,
having all
like
the other fun stuff out in the street, with other women. And you have to, like, I got to the point where I was like, when I started dating again, I was like, oh my God, people do that? I was being such a prude and I was still in my late 20s. So people would look at me like, some of my friends would be like, girl, now you can go and do this and do that. I was like, what? Who does that?
that's why I said nowadays you can do anything and everything. It just faces no one.
So I was talking to someone recently, a young adult in their early 20s, and they were telling me about a friendship that they have. Yeah, we've been hanging, we just chill. We're just friends with benefits. And I was like, I always thought that was like a movie thing, like that didn't really exist. And they were like, well, how do you know what you want unless you try it first? I was like, no, that's not how it works. I said, you can do that maybe after marriage or they're like, nah. So it is a way different mentality than it was when we were coming up, where girls back in the days, even if they did stuff, they didn't talk about it. The boys would
I
talk to
know.
each other about it.
Yeah.
And I did blah, 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 blah. But the girls were not. The girls are talking. The boys are the one, no, I didn't do that,
Yeah, girls talk about everything. I was watching a video the other day. I don't know if it was on TikTok or where I saw it, and this lady was talking about a little toy that she bought. And she was saying how I love this thing. It's the greatest thing ever. She's going on, and she's like, I apologize to my family if you see this video. She's like, and she was going on and on. It was so funny, like she was saying what she was thinking, but oh God, my family, what are they going to think? It was funny.
Was it the rose?
It was.
Just good guess.
It was the rose, a movable rose. I didn't know it did that. It
There
was
you
like,
go.
oh, that's funny.
So, see, there's all kind. If you don't want to be intimate or you don't want to be with your partner, you can still take care of what your needs are without having to include them, but at some point you need to
That's
figure
true.
out what is it that what would make me feel like I know who I am and what I need and what I want, and give me that pleasure where I can take a deep breath and say, man, like I know where I stand. I know I know what my needs are.
Yeah.
What would it take for you to feel that way?
A lot. But I think I'm comfortable enough after this talk to have a talk tonight, just to
Okay.
say, not about the sexual stuff. Like, I'm
No.
not getting to that yet, but just the holding of the hand, the
Yeah.
snuggling, and for him to loosen up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm your wife, it's okay to hug me, or, like everything. He literally, like, it pains him to have, intimacy, to hug
It's because he
somebody,
doesn't
or
know what it looks like. He doesn't know you,
has it
know.
always been? Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I always say how, like I said, how, like, when we get together with my family, everybody's like, I'll hug my mom and I'll hold on to her, and they just hug, I think, to say we hug,
Mhm.
like there's no, like,
That's
come
funny.
here. And that's how I want with him. You're like, come here, let
Mhm.
me snuggle with you. Where he would be like, okay, we're snuggling.
And you got to tell him at that moment. That's your opportunity, that when he is doing that, he's be like, come on, relax. You have to, because you know what we do? And I'm speaking for myself. Immediately, I get mad because you should know what I need. You should know how I feel about this. You should know. And the reality is, he doesn't know. So how am I going to get mad at him because he didn't hug me properly? Or because there are times, that I'll be looking for, like to play around and play, like just, in Spanish it's called coqueta, just being hard to get. And he's like in La La Land. And I'm like, hello, do you not? And he said, well, oh, babe, I'm sorry. I didn't know that's what you were doing. And I'm like, but then I have to stop and be like, how the hell would you
Okay, well,
expect
now
me
that
to
just ruined that.
that? Yeah, because then I'd be like, forget it. Let's try to get next week. I'm not doing that no more. No, it's important to be able to remind myself to say, okay, he doesn't know. Like, or if I go and I take a shower and I get myself all dolled up and I walk in and he's asleep. And I'm like, shit, well, that's my fault
Right.
because first of all, I didn't say anything. And second of all, if he's asleep, wake him up. But then in the morning, I'm mad because he fell asleep on me, or vice versa. He might be like, well, you went to sleep last night. I was like, well, you should have woke me. No, because then you would have been mad. Well, how do you know you didn't wake me? So it's gotten to the point where we've gotten more comfortable with having conversations, because for a while, there were a few years there that we were doing that guessing game. Yeah, like, I don't know if that's what made him mad, or I should have done this, or he should have. And then during COVID, because we were spending so much time with each other, we're like, okay, we cannot read each other's minds. We already know. We've been under this roof for the last 6 months by ourselves without, human contact. We're going to have to start learning how to tell each other what we need and what we want. And it was awkward for him at first because he is not a person that vocalizes, But now that he knows that I'm okay with it, he doesn't take anything I say. Every blue moon, he'll look at me and be like, what do you mean? If I say something
Good.
off the wall, or I send him a random text message or something like that, he's like,
Oh, you're good with those texts.
yeah, yeah.
While we're together, she'll say, text her this. So I'll sit there and she's like, what's his response? I'm like, nothing. And he's going to be like, what's wrong with you? It's so funny.
He's gotten to the point that he says, are you with Maritza?
I know he does. So funny.
And I'd be like, text him saying, I can't sleep. I need your warm body next to me. Laying here in the bed by myself makes me feel like I miss you. And no response. And then one day we said something about sexy feet or something like that, remember? And he's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
I send him a picture of my foot and I'm like, what do you think? He's like, it's your foot. It's like,
he said something about a bunion, right?
yeah, my bunion. I'm
He
like,
does not have a foot fetish.
no, he does not.
We have established this.
We know that. That was like, he's like, why
How
are you
about
sending me?
at my mom's party, you said something like, say something nice to her or
Yeah.
something.
I
And
said,
he's
go
like,
over there and talk to your wife
that
sexy.
color of your shirt looks like the Vikings or something.
Yeah. I said, go over there and tell your wife she looks sexy and say something nice about how she looks. So he walks over, he's like, hey, that color of your shirt makes me think of the Vikings. I was like,
And you're like,
I said,
no. And you smacked him.
I
And
smacked
he's
him,
like,
no. And mind you, I had just met him because I hadn't met that. I just
person,
met
you
him
had-
that day, the day before. But I was like, no, you're supposed to say something nice. He's like, your shirt is nice.
yeah, you're like, you look nice.
You look
Thank
nice.
you.
What's sad is that he was really serious.
I know.
But you can
He
change
had
that.
nobody to learn anything from, you know?
How old were you guys when you guys got married?
Gonna say 30 because I'm gonna be 60 next year. And wait a minute. No, I must have been 31. I'm gonna be 60 next year. Next year's 29 for us. The next will be 30.
Oh, wow.
So,
How long did you date before you got married?
couple of years. Maybe even a year and a half. We were together probably about a year when we got engaged. But I've always been awkward in that department too because of being so shy. You know, I might be dying for, when I was dating for somebody to hold my hand, or the same thing with the laughing. There was a guy that I had such a crush on. And finally one night he goes to kiss me and I start, I think because I was so nervous. Yeah. I started, and he's like, what the
He's like,
freak?
you laughing?
And I was like, my gosh, you idiot. And then I felt like such an ass and I didn't even want to see him anymore because I was so embarrassed. I don't know. I used to hang out with people who were not shy and they used to have fun.
Does it make you feel awkward when they will have the conversation about how much fun they were having, or are you
No.
not? Okay.
No.
So it's not like
no,
you're,
I'm not embarrassed to hear anything what anybody does or, you're doing that. That's what you want. Good for you. Like it's not that there's something I really don't want to do or whatever. That's like has nothing to do with the feeling. And like I said, it's gotten to be so routine. It's been so long that, it doesn't even pop in my head.
girl, we got to
'Cause
break
I'm
that
like,
routine.
I'm leaving. What's that?
You got to break that routine.
Yeah. But it doesn't help. Like, we rarely sit together and watch the same thing
Okay.
because we have such different interests. So, me, I'm like running out the door. Let's go. Where are we going? Let's go travel. Let's go do whatever, And he doesn't want to do anything. If I ask him, even like to go out on a date, all he wants to do is golf. He's not one to try different things or to do something, that he
She's
doesn't
talking
really.
about that, and I got things going on in my head like golf. I could be the caddy. I wonder if Jim wants to go golfing. I don't know if Jim wants to go golfing. He might want to go golfing.
I would die
I know. I'm
because
gonna
I'm
wear this.
shy.
You'd be walking around with just a little something, driving the little cart. They get
Fun.
outside the box. That's all.
I know. I guess you're
Yeah.
gonna go home and try to role play.
Something you got to, you got to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah,
what
I wish
can-
things were different. I do.
Okay.
How to get to that point, I feel like it's hopeless at this point
No, I disagree.
to get back there.
No, it's almost
But
like
I'm
being a teenager and everything is new and fresh, and you'll have an opportunity to not rediscover, but discover who you are and what you want and what you need. And you just got to bring him in on it. I think sometimes we think that men know what they want. And the reality is they can be just as shy or they can be just as awkward, that it holds them back from being able to ask for what they want or give what you want. So you have to just kind of like help them along and just be like, hey, let's just watch TV and find something we could watch together, even if it's a 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be like 5 hours long. 15 minutes, let's watch the news or something a little bit better than the news, but but something that would, or you're having dinner and sit across from each other and put your legs on his lap, while you're having dinner. We go out to restaurants sometimes and I'm under the table just playing footsie with him and he's like, you know, just because I know it throws him off. He'd just be like, no, I'll kick my shoes off and I'll be like, or we're driving long distance and I'm irritated because he's changing the radio and I want to get out the car. And then sometimes out of the blue, I'll start doing things that I shouldn't be doing while he's driving and messing with him. He's like, but you spit. But at the same time, he's like, well, you don't have to stop. I'm like, oh. Stop it. Oh, stop it. Yeah, don't stop. So just start little bit at a time, trying little things. But again, make sure that they're things that make you happy, things that you are comfortable with, because that's you being able to regain your power and being able to say, okay, this is for me. You're not doing this for him. You're doing this for you. And in turn, he gets to enjoy it as well, but it ain't about him.
Let's go.
That's it.
Go move it.
Move it.
I don't know. It's gonna take an awful lot to get there.
Then it sounds like we need to come back and talk about the result. Both of you got homework assignments. She's
telling
like,
you, I need a course.
We can go offline and have some deep conversations about some things you could try.
All right.
I don't know if our audience is ready for that. Maybe on a couple of episodes later.
Okay, but that sounds good. We'll discuss different things.
Well, ladies, this was great. I know it's a little bit off and we were a little bit nervous about having these conversations, but I think it's important for us as women to empower ourselves, to have the conversations that most people are afraid to have. And I think that, We Said It is the right platform for us to come and have these type of conversations. So thank you for being vulnerable.
Thank you. And I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
If anybody's out there, because I feel like I'm like the only person that's like this, if there's anybody out there, do you have similar, situation? If you did and you got over it, how did you get over it? I need help.
That
You too, Elizabeth.
A good question.
I think I know some of my answers, but give me your opinion. It's been almost 11 years. It'll be 11 years in February that I've been in a relationship. We're not married. We don't live together. We have broken up a couple times on my end. I've told them I was done, but I just go back with them. I'm not really out there looking for anybody else though. Yeah. I mean, we have a great friendship.
Girl, I got enough friends.
I don't need
I'm
one
trying
more
to be his friend. I'm not trying to be your friend. I got plenty of friends. Elizabeth, you got plenty of friends.
Your friend with benefits.
There you go. There you go.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you for joining. It was interesting. We'll definitely have to come back and see if we've tried anything, if we've learned anything.
Yeah. You just need to work on you because I'm good. I'm single.
No,
I live alone.
All three of us
might be
are going to be working on something different. No, Elizabeth,
you're too young. You're too young.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. And don't forget to share and make sure that you hit the little bell down there so that we can you can receive notifications whenever we are posting our We Said It podcast. So
like and share.
Like and share. Like and share. Have
and
a good
night.
Let's not forget to subscribe. Like, share,
subscribe as well.
Thank
you. All right, ladies. Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.